The fairy tale that I want to tell you today is titled The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, in a beautiful forest, there lived 3 little pigs. They were brothers, but they were very different from each other. The oldest pig, Peter, was very smart and hardworking. He loved to build things and was always busy with his carpentry projects. The middle pig, Percy, was a bit lazy and preferred to spend his days playing in the meadow. And the youngest pig, Penny, was adventurous and always looking for new things to explore. One day, their mother gathered them around and said, "My dear children, it's time for you to go out into the world and build your own houses. Be careful and always remember that the big bad wolf is out there. Stay safe and look out for each other." The 3 little pigs were very excited and set off to find a good spot to build their houses. Peter decided to build his house out of sturdy bricks because he knew that it would be strong and safe. Percy, on the other hand, chose to build his house out of straw because he wanted to finish quickly and go back to playing. And Penny, being the adventurous one, decided to build her house out of colorful candy and sweets because she loved all things sweet. As they worked on their houses, the big bad wolf watched from a distance, licking his lips in anticipation. He knew that soon enough, he would have a delicious meal of juicy little pigs. Peter worked hard, laying one brick over the other, carefully creating a solid structure that would protect him from any danger. Percy, on the other hand, lazily stacked bundles of straw, not paying much attention to the strength of his house, and Penny happily decorated her house with colorful candies, giggling as she licked the sweet frosting off her fingers. Once their houses were finished, the 3 little pigs gathered in front of Peter's house to admire their handiwork. Peter's brick house looked sturdy and safe. Percy's straw house looked cozy and inviting, and Penny's candy house looked like a fairy tale come to life. As night fell, the 3 little pigs settled down in their houses, ready for a good night's sleep. But as they drifted off to sleep, they heard a loud howling in the distance. The big bad wolf was coming. First, the wolf arrived at Percy's house made of straw. He knocked on the door and said in a deep, gruff voice, little pig, let me come in." But Percy, who was still awake, trembled in fear. He knew that the wolf would devour him if he let him in. No, not by the hair on my chinny chin, he replied, trying to sound brave. The wolf huffed and puffed and blew the straw house down in one big breath. Percy ran as fast as he could to Peter's house next door, screaming for his brother to let him in. When Percy arrived at Peter's brick house, he was panting and pale with fear. Peter quickly opened the door and let him in, bolting it shut behind him. The 2 brothers huddled together, listening to the wolf's angry growls outside. The wolf approached Peter's house and knocked on the door, saying, Little pigs, let me come in." But Peter was not afraid. He knew that his brick house was strong and would protect them. "No way, Mr. Wolf, not by the hair on our chinny chins, he replied confidently. The wolf huffed and huffed some more, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't blow the brick house down. Frustrated, he decided to come up with a plan to trick the little pigs. The next morning, the wolf came back to Peter's house with a bag of golden apples. He knocked on the door and said in a sweet voice, "Little pigs, I've brought you some delicious apples as a peace offering. Please let me in so we can be friends." But Peter and Percy knew better than to trust the wolf. They remembered their mother's warning and refused to open the door, no matter how tempting the apples looked. The wolf left, disappointed, and made his way to Penny's candy house. He knocked on the door and said in a sly voice, Little pig, Let me come in and taste your delicious candies." Penny, who was always curious and a bit naive, opened the door without much thought. The wolf quickly entered the house and started eating all the sweet treats, licking his lips in delight. But Penny soon realized her mistake when she saw the hungry look in the wolf's eyes. She screamed for help, hoping that her brothers would hear her and come to her rescue. Fortunately, Peter and Percy heard Penny's cries from their house and rushed to her side. When they arrived at Penny's candy house, they saw the wolf about to pounce on her. Without hesitation, Peter grabbed a nearby bucket of water and threw it over the wolf, drenching him from head to toe. The wolf howled in surprise and ran away, dripping wet and defeated. The three little pigs hugged each other, relieved that they had escaped the wolf's clutches. From that day on, the three little pigs lived happily ever after in Peter's sturdy brick house, always looking out for each other and staying safe from any danger that may come their way. And as for the big bad wolf, he never dared to bother them again, knowing that they were strong and brave little pigs who could outsmart him any day. And so, the tale of the three little pigs and the big bad wolf became a favorite story in the forest, told to children for generations to come as a lesson in courage, teamwork, and the power of family bonds.